Hi everyone and welcome to Edge-CGI. My name is Eugene and in this tutorial we're going to cover alien creature design in Zbrush. Now this is a live design session that has been recorded and sped up. Throughout this video I'm going to guide you through my thought process when designing a creature design, as well as discuss some tips and tricks and general principles of design. So here we are within ZBrush interface. I start with just some basic blocking with Dynamesh sphere, and I'm quickly giving this character some chest, some head, start refining muscles of the neck, some back muscles. This character is going to be human-like, anthropomorphic, if you will. But at the same time, I want to give him maybe underwatery, sea creature look. Before starting this recording, I went online and looked up some marine biology pictures for inspiration, because I wanted this character to kind of resemble some underwater creature, and that's what I'm trying to push, and hopefully I accomplished this. As you can see, I kind of jumped into refining secondary forms pretty quickly. Mainly because the main idea behind him being humanoid kind of solved that problem for us. Important thing in character design is that it has a symbolic nature to it. What I'm trying to say is we as viewers not only have to be able to relate to the character, but also tell his backstory and be able to tell who he is by looking at him. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he from volcanic world, or like in our case, watery world? But at the same time, as you can see, I'm kind of trying to give him some features that are found in humans, to kind of push the idea that he's sentient, that he can talk, and maybe even he is super high intelligence, who knows. He's got pretty big head here. A good idea while designing a character would be to kind of experiment a lot, go back and forth, try different things. Luckily ZBrush stores the entire undo history throughout the open session, so we can easily just go several steps back, or even a lot of steps back. We can go to the beginning, and it kind of enables us to experiment a lot. As you can see, I'm refining the back of his head, trying to give him both this shell-like structure on top of the head, and also this compressed bag-like thing. Maybe it's inflatable, who knows. You can see me zooming out and rotating model a lot. Almost after I do anything, I would zoom out and kind of try and see it from a different angle. And that's a good thing to do, because it kind of helps you to maintain control on the coherency of your design. Because sometimes you get this, you get soaked in, you work on some part a lot, and then you zoom out and rotate a bit, and you see that it's not working anymore. So always check if your design is working from different angles. You can see here I'm kind of trying to create some fancy thing on the back. Later on I decide to abandon this idea because it's not really working with the rest of the design, but it serves as an illustration that you can kind of try stacking different design elements on top of each other, or even rewriting them entirely. Don't get too attached to your model. You should be able to change it on the fly to see what works best. And if something doesn't seem right or doesn't feel right, just throw it away. So here you can see me trying to figure out what's happening here in his head, trying to kind of give him some pattern there, and at the same time I'm jumping around and trying to flesh out the eyes, the bag on his throat, these duct-like things on his face. I kind of think they help convey the idea of him being from an alien world. Now here you can see me working extensively with damp standard brush. If you don't know about this brush, it's an invaluable asset, not even when designing, but when sculpting in general. These days it comes with the default in default ZBrush startup layout, but in case you don't have it, go into Lightbox and look it up there. The way it works, it kind of creates this really sharp thin duct. And as with any other brush, if you hold down Alt, it will reverse the brush's effect. And with Damien Standard, that will create this long, pinchy, creased edge-like thing. You can see me using it here on the chin, here in the throat bag, with the, for creases, for overarching shapes here and there. Really a good thing. Some other brushes, apart from Move Brush, obviously, that I use are Clay and Clay Buildup. And there's a lot of debate going between the two, but I think it's not a matter of preference, as Clay and Clay Buildup are similar but kind of really different. Now, clay, especially if you use it in bigger chunks, after it's smooth, it kind of leaves this flowy, interconnected, really organic form. While clay buildup, especially if you use it as you would use sandpaper with this kind of motion, will create this fiber-like texture, and it doesn't respond well to being smooth, as it will show through the smoothing. So bear that in mind. Now, if you could kind of create muscle tissue, it might come in handy. Maybe that's the effect you're after. But while laying things out, I'd recommend sticking with clay. And then there is a brush people tend to neglect. It's ZBrush, just a usual standard brush. But while using it, you have to be careful because it kind of has twist to it. Now, I recommend using it this way. You're starting out your model, use bigger size standard brush, press lightly, and you can shove big masses of digital clay around with it and really create like I don't know, cavities and protruding areas. But as your detailing increases, you decrease its size. Don't use big sized standard brush on more subdivided models and vice versa. Because standard brush is one of those brushes that kind of looks really simple, but at the same time it can do things other brushes can't. Now we're approaching a point where we'll be reprojecting all the details onto the new topology. But for now you can see I'm refining some of the facial details here, pushing those ducts in and using Alt Damien Standard Brush to curve out the eye area and maybe even create some primarily wrinkles, some directionality to all the micro details that will be used, that will be created later. Also, you can kind of see me using the Damien Standard Brush to pinch the area where the lips connect with the rest of the head. It's useful that way. Okay, so here we'll start reprojecting the Dynamesh details onto the new topology. This will enable us to go up and down subdivision scale, and there's a safe way of doing that. Now here is our really high fidelity mesh. It's getting really hard to work with it. So let's do the following. We'll first switch the Dynamesh off. Just click it. All right. Then there's in the subtool menu, we'll duplicate our mesh here and hide the original one and select the new one. Now the order is important here. Then go to the geometry tab, press Z remesher, and it has a lot of settings, but defaults are fine. 5K target polygon count, adaptive. Just press the remesher and let it run its course. It might take some time, but what it will do, it will create a new topology Here it is. Pretty low poly, as we said. Target polygon count of 5. Here's the wireframe mode. All right. So what we're going to do now, we'll be projecting all the details from the original mesh, which we need to make visible, but maintain the selection of the new one. And after that, we'll go down here into Geometry tab. There it is, and divide it once for now. You can either press the divide button here or use the hotkey Control D, or if you're on Windows, or Command D if you're on Mac. And then go to the Project tab and hit Project All. This will project all the details from the mesh higher up the list to the mesh that is selected lower down the list. And then we'll repeat the process. So we create a new subdivision level, we project, and we rinse and repeat. Now we could have just subdivided it a couple of times and then reprojected, but from my experience, sometimes it creates unwanted errors. So this is kind of safer approach. You just project every subdivision level until you match detail fidelity, and then you just hide the original mesh and just work with this reprojected mesh here. We have 3-4 subdivision levels. We can add more here, and this way it will be easier to kind of tweak both high fidelity details and overall shapes while going up and down the subdivision scale. It kind of basically makes it easier to work with. Now, so here I'm kind of starting to detail the mouth, and the important thing here is I'm kind of trying to create visual rhythms to all those areas, and at the same time make some areas work together as if they belong to the same structure, and separate other areas. Here in the ear, I'm kind of trying to give it some resemblance to the human ear, so we as viewers would see this organ as a hearing, some kind of hearing mechanism, I guess. And kind of trying to give some directionality to the details around the eye. Now this may look like wrinkles, but actually this is just an underlying structure. You see, I'm even smoothing it out a bit. Why I do that is that I just I create directionality underneath the upcoming detailing, so everything would look more organic and natural. So here I separate the surfaces a little bit further, and then append a new subtool, just a regular sphere, which I put inside the eye socket to serve as the eye, and then I mirror it to the other side. Yes, enable the symmetry and kind of tweak the geometry around the eye a little bit, so it would wrap around the newly created eyes, and kind of trying to give some more interesting details to the shell here, and kind of enhance the separation here, masking this area out and inverting the mask and just refining it a bit, and then go crazy with alphas and then just create this rocky, shelly, hard looking structure. For the sake of this video, I only use standard alphas, but if you work on layers, they still look nice. I mean, you can do a lot of great things with just standard alphas. Don't shy away from them. Now, same thing with the throat back. I just grabbed this wrinkly standard alpha and just carved in with it to kind of create this, heavily wrinkled look, both on the throat and on the back of the head. And I'm still not detailing. I'm just giving it a general texture. I'll start detailing that with Damien's standard brush quite soon there. Now I'm not using symmetry. right now. Here I'm detailing it manually, and it's always a good idea to kind of mix alphas with the manual detailing, because the goal here is to make those things more organic looking. Don't let them look as if they are generated by the computer or alpha. A lot of people use alphas extensively, but be careful with them and work in layers. This is one of the most important things while detailing your characters. Work in layers. You can either just do something and then smooth it out in a bit and then do another pass, or you can use layers within Zbrush. It's a tab that is located under the geometry tab, and we'll get to that later because I use them as well. Okay, so here I'm kind of starting to manually detail mouth areas, working more on the directionality. And the thing about wrinkles that you have to remember is that wrinkles do not just spawn from nowhere. They cover the areas that stretch and compress a lot, like mouth, eyes, neck in humans. While creating the fictional character, you could, you should kind of think about what areas move a lot and what areas might kind of be more still. Okay. So as you can see, even at this point, I'm still refining the overall shapes and kind of started to texture things here and there, really giving it some detail, some finer details. And here I'm just fixing this atrocious thing on the back, because this design solution never worked. And by the way, look, take a look at how I use. Clay build-up brush with I kind of trying to convey directionality in it. So when I smooth it, I kind of get this fiber-looking texture, and kind of okay. So I start using layers at this point because I'm kind of experimenting on what kind of skin texture I would like to give him. And the cool thing about layers is that you can drag. When you create layer, it has a controller, and you can drag it left and right, and you can increase or decrease its influence and even go negative with it. And the cool thing is that you can stack layers on top of each other and kind of mix them in a way that you kind of feel is the most natural. Here I'm kind of detailing the skin. I'm going with 3 passes here. Just a first pass with bigger brush size. Then I enable this matte cap that is called matte cap white cavity. It kind of highlights all the cavities and kind of helps you to see if you missed some spots. Then, as you can see, I kind of decrease the layer influence a bit, and then I create a second layer with a different texture, and I go over it and create more fine textures here. And I laid on top of in the previous layer, and I can still kind of intermix them still, and that's a cool thing about layers actually. But there's a drawback. Layers really makes your machine go slower. So at some point you'll have to bake them. And once you bake them, you cannot, obviously you cannot tweak them anymore. Usually I go with 3 passes, like more general layer 1. Then I cover all the areas that I might have missed with layer 2, tweak it a bit, and then go with layer 3 with finest details, smallest brush size, and I try to cover every square centimeter of the model with layer 3, not missing anything, and really like even going on top of the areas that I might have already textured, like this top of the head shell, maybe the throat. Now regarding the wrinkles, I gotta say something else about the wrinkles. Wrinkles don't just form like that, as I said before. And if you want natural looking wrinkles, kind of try to think about them like they are layered. Okay, so there are bigger wrinkles underneath, smaller on top, and then the finest, smallest wrinkles as a third layer. Actually, can go even higher. Okay, another important thing that I'm using right now is lazy brush. So I'm kind of trying to refine those ducts in there, and I use lazy brush for that. It is located in stroke menu, and it kind of enables you, if you increase lazy radius, it will kind of help you create these more controlled lines. It kind of averages within all your within your stroke movements and helps you create more of a fine and even line. And here I'm just giving the jawline, I kind of just gave it a different texture, just a bit to kind of separate those areas. And, here I'm just having more fun with alphas, giving some finer final details to the eyes. Actually, we're almost there, but note how the directionality of the wrinkles is preserved. It's very important because wrinkles imply that the a part of the body where they are located is in a lot of movement. So wrinkles imply movement. With adding wrinkles to those ducts, I kind of imply that they kind of might be movable. So yeah, here I'm just separating that shell a little bit more. Notice how I'm not using the symmetry at this point. Okay, and here's the transposing thing. Since our eyes are different subtools, I use Transpose Master, which kind of creates a separate modal. And then when you're done transposing, it reprojects all the changes back. So I'm kind of breaking the symmetry, resculpting it here and there a bit. And you see I'm kind of trying to make this snarl, maybe like winking kind of expression on his face to break the symmetry and to make it look more natural a bit. Okay, so we're almost there. It's almost finished. Alright, there we go. Save it, and there it is. So this is our design. This is what we have in the end. Alright, so now that our design is finished, we can do whatever we want with it. I went ahead and I decimated it and threw it into Keyshot. So here's the rendering I came up with. It's nothing fancy. It's exactly the same thing we've just modeled. No textures or anything, just a more dramatic lighting and some Photoshop background compositing. Anyways, I hope you found this tutorial informative, and thank you for watching Edge-CGI. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.